Hi, today I'm going to show you a presentation that I gave at the American Geophysical Union Fall Meeting in San Francisco in December 2016. It was part of a session called the UpGoer5 Challenge, a fun and radical way to distill your science. This is a photo of someone at the USGS who happened to be a student here at my university a little while ago, and she's giving a presentation only using the 1,000 most used words in the English language. That's part of this UpGoer5 challenge. It's a way to try and communicate science better. It was inspired by the XKCD comic that was called the UpGoer5. And this was a way to try and describe the Saturn V moon rocket using only those 1,000 most used words. It's a really great way to try and break down and eliminate the jargon that we often use in describing science and technology. Here you can see this is described as the only flying space car that's taken anyone to another world, right? It's kind of funny when we talk using only the 1,000 most used words, but I think it also helps communicate the essence of what we're working on. So the talk that I gave was called "When People Push Water Deep Underground, It Can Cause Repeating Ground Shakes." It's given by me, and here are my friends, Rob and Brian, and we all worked on this at Miami University in Ohio. So this is a side view underground that shows a deep well that goes down into tight rocks that have the stuff we use for power. People push water down fast to break the rocks. And then when we break the rocks, we can get more stuff up for power. But the leftover water is not clean. So people will often make a deeper well, and they will truck the water that's not clean, and that leftover water is pushed down more slowly and deeper. This keeps it away from the water that people drink. This shows deep underground, some places where rocks are broken. And the rocks, in many cases, are trying to move in different directions. On top is a rock that's trying to move right, and on bottom is a rock trying to move to the left. This is the broken rock in between, and the broken rock is made up of rocks from past slips between these two sides. Sometimes when water is being pushed down by people, it gets pushed into this space where the broken rock is. And as more and more water gets pushed down, it pushes the rocks apart. That means the rocks can slip past each other more and more often, and this can cause repeating ground shakes. This now shows the state where I live. I live over here. It's also showing the deeper wells in blue where water is pushed slow, and in pink, the deep wells where water is pushed fast. Less than 1 out of 100 of these wells made ground shakes. In red and blue are the wells that made ground shakes. It's only 1 out of 100. And less than half of those were felt by people. So wells pushing water don't make very many ground shakes. And they make even less that can be felt by people. To better find these ground shakes and understand them, my student and I go out to the field and use a machine that senses the ground waves. There's a lot of stuff that we put out in the field to make this work, but what is important is this guy here, which stores waves in computer memory. All the ground waves that happen get stored there, and then we can study them. we kind of make a mess when we're working in the field, but we clean it up when we're done. This is one of the ground waves that the machine senses. I picked it because it has a ground shake. We take that ground shake and we look through all the old ground waves that are stored in memory to see if there are any more ground shakes. We use a fast computer to look for the same wave shape. Aha, a match. This match shows a smaller ground shake that we missed, right? This ground shake is easier to see. This one is harder to see. So we need the fast computer to help us. This now shows the size of ground shakes during a time when water was being pushed fast into a deep well. There are only 4 ground shakes during the time when this water was pushed fast that come from the normal way we find ground shakes. The problem is these ground shakes are near the size when the law says we should stop pushing the water in my state. And these ground shakes got close to the size when people actually feel the shakes. So the problem is there are only a few of these and we can't see any warning before these shakes happen. Now this shows all the ground shakes that we found using a fast computer to find more matches and more smaller ground shakes. So each circle is a ground shake. That's a lot of ground shakes. It's a good thing we taught the computer to find ground shakes. What we see with all these ground shakes is that when people are pushing water, the ground shake size can grow over time. So we can see before the shakes reach the size when the law says we should stop pushing water, we can see some ground shakes beforehand. Finding these small early ground shakes can help us to avoid the larger ground shakes because people who are pushing water can change how they push that water. So we think we can help the people who make our power avoid making ground shakes we can feel, and that will make us both happy. In order to do this study, we got money from the people who run our states. So we should thank them. We should also thank XKCD for talking in a way that people can understand